Garrison's talking about his 15 minutes worth of pain.
Oh, no, yeah.
I'm only about 15 minutes worth of pain.
I'm getting back in the break.
At the time, you don't have to, it was actually broadcast on TV, you came round like with an autograph book. And he was round the book. He was an extra on one of the years there.
And I've still got the videos to prove it.
What remains till afternoon break? No, that's right. Right.
Actually, I've got my first aid certificate.
That's fine. Literally on Wednesday, I did not have a voice. Right, welcome back. Okay, we will start from where we were. Now, I'll just point out that obviously everything I've said is on the list I've given you, albeit it may be brought across in different contexts because it's different then. Blatant sales plug, irrelevant to a couple of you in the room that I've already made deals with, but there is a 2-disc set which is basically 8 hours of video of this event and also other stuff in DVD format in terms of visualised, in other words, notes to remind you. Which if you went on the website in a plastic box would cost you like 50 quid, but today you can literally have one for a 10. Anyway, that's as far as that goes as a sales plug, because it's irrelevant. Right, the good suggestibility test. We mentioned that suggestibility test, literally by just carrying on from there as well, you expect it to happen and saying, close your eyes, sleep, or if your eyes are already closed, like with the hole in the head thing, you can just rotate the head and say sleep. Can be inductions in and of themselves. If you transmit the confidence that that's what you expect, that's really the big key. So there's actually only 2 more suggestibility tests left. Now, I'm not saying there's only 2 more suggestibility tests in the world, what I'm saying is there's only 2 more that I know of that actually have a genuine physical something that occurs. Because otherwise you are getting into the realms of you may as well just say I'm going to count from 10 to 1 and you can see a monkey in front of you, and if the people see a monkey, then clearly they're unbalanced. No, clearly they are very suggestible. I prefer to stack it in favour, so hence all the ones we've covered so far have got percentage-wise a level that's guaranteed to work. So another one would be what we call the light and heavy hands test. This is particularly nice for a reason that I will explain very shortly. But for now, the best way to teach it is to demonstrate it, because you can always look at DVDs to remind you. Now in NLP they call that anchoring, you're not going to look at the DVDs, put it in your head that you want to look at those afterwards as a refresher course notes, and therefore you want to buy them. Which teaches you a bit of NLP there for no particular reason other than also it anchors that idea as being really good. For those that know NLP, you know I'm taking the piss. Right, so everyone, hands out in front of you. Towards your left and your right. And then, so that I'm facing the same way as you, take your left hand and turn it palm upwards. Make sure you're about the same level. Fantastic, then just close your eyes. I'm going to talk to each and every one of you. What I'd like you to do is use your powers of intelligence, imagination and concentration effectively, as I'm sure you will. Because when I count backwards from 10 down to 1, I'd like you to imagine that on the palm of your left hand, is a huge, big pile of leather-bound library books. A big, heavy pile of leather-bound library books with each second that passes by becoming heavier, pushing the left hand down lower and lower and lower. As on 10, you also realise that tied to the middle finger of your right hand is a massive big bunch of red heliums that are getting lighter and lighter with each second that passes by. So that they're pulling your right hand up into the air. So as the left hand becomes lower and lower, the right hand gets lighter and lighter, rising up into the air. 9, 8 and 7. With every breath you take, every noise that you hear, every word that I say, and every thought that you you think? Nearly serving as a sign and a signal. For those leather-bound library books on your left hand to get heavier and heavier, pushing down, sinking down, lower and lower, as the red helium balloons on the count of 6. It's almost as if someone's come along and tied another 3 bunches of balloons to the middle finger of your right hand. So it starts to go higher and higher into the air. As on 5, you realise that I should tap you on the hand, it will not bother you, worry you, or concern you. You'll keep your eyes closed. But it's just a sign and a signal that those leather-bound library books are getting heavier, 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 and heavier. And it's a sign and a signal on the count of 4 that the helium balloons are getting so light, rising up lighter, lighter, rising up lighter, 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 lighter with each second that passes by. 3. From this moment forward, using your powers of intelligence, imagination and concentration effectively, you find that the leather-bound library books are so heavy, sinking down, drifting down, that on 2, it's almost as though shed loads more of red helium balloons, almost enough to lift you in the air, but not enough to do that, because obviously that could be dangerous. Just being tied to the middle finger of your right hand, getting lighter, 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 rising into the air. That's fantastic. And on 1, if I should tap you on the hands, it will not bother you, worry you, or concern you. It will not bother you, worry you, or concern you. In fact, it will just be a sign and a signal to help you instantly, immediately, and safely to relax every nerve, fibre, tissue, and muscle in your body from the tips of your toes to the tips of your fingers. Eyes remain tight, closed at all times. Nice deep breath in, everyone, and out, and just relax. Deeper, 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 deeper. Now tap you on the hands, it will not bother you, worry you, or concern you, which is a sign and a signal to relax. Deeper, 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 deeper. Eyes remain tight, closed, drifting down, sinking down, deeper, deeper, deeper. Tap your hands, it will not bother you, worry you, or concern you, which is a sign and a signal to relax. Deeper, 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 and deeper, 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 deeper. The deeper you go, the better you feel, and the better you feel, the deeper you go. And I tap you on the hands, it will not bother you, worry you, or concern you in any way, it's just a sign and a signal to relax. Deeper, 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 deeper. Not bother you, worry you, or concern you, just relax. Deeper, deeper, deeper. The deeper you go, the better you feel, and the better you feel, the deeper you go. With every breath that you take, every noise you hear, every word that I say, every thought that you think, really serving as a sign and a signal to help you relax more completely. I'm talking to everyone. I'm going to count from 1 to 3 on the count of 3, only on the count of 3. When I say wide awake, as quickly as that, wide awake on the count of 3, you'll instantly be wide awake. 1, 2, 3, go. Wide awake, take your eyes and shine everyone. Eyes open, wide awake. Shoot up the nice one. Basically everyone in the room that participated arguably went into what we define as being hypnosis earlier. The state that anyone looking at you would go, this person ended up like that, which stereotypically is hypnosis. And arguably the fact that you did, even though you know what you know, means you were being compliant, which means that everything worked. Everything we talked about. Come on,
As
Dan.
I just said, I'm not purposely being a cunt, but it's just that for me,
You decided to sit back and
because
look.
that's why he knows I'm sort of about because I'm trying to just look.
Yeah.
It's my first time I've been to something like
That's
that.
fine.
I don't feel like I'm not
No,
taking it seriously.
no, it's fine. I figured that, you were going so far and then suddenly you decided to watch.
Yeah.
And I could see on your own face, it's like, this shouldn't fucking be working.
Yeah.
When
Particularly
it's frankly, but he does because of what we did. And that's the paradox. Even when you know how it works, if it's done right, it still works. Now, I lied to you again. I said we were just going to do a suggestibility test. What I actually did was turn an age-old suggestibility test straight into an induction. And because you didn't know I was going to do that, that's why it was possible to do it. Right? Now, this is not my idea. None of it's my idea, and none of it is Rob Temple's idea either. But putting it together in the manner it has been is Rob Temple's idea. Credit where it's due. There's an old thing called the light and heavy hands test. That's what, as it will be referred to on the course DVD or the course notes that you've got. And essentially that is to get people to put their left arm out in front of them like that and the right arm out in front of them like that. Now the way to remember this is the left hand, which is the letter L, is going to have the leather-bound L, library books, letter L, that are going to push the hand lower. So everything's letter L. So obviously to put library books on and hold them, the palm would have to be face upwards. That's my memory, if I remember them. The right hand middle ring finger, letter R. It's going to have a bunch, because it's the right hand, letter R. It's going to have a bunch of healing balloons tied to it, letter R, to rise up into the air. And you just think the palm's going to be downwards because to see the rings. That's why it's the ring finger. That's the memory aid, to get them in the correct position. And the position is everything. Because if you put your hands out in front of you now, like so, as it was, and make them roughly level, and then just close your eyes, and I'll talk complete and utter bollocks for a bit. So your left palm upwards, and your right palms, palm downwards. It doesn't matter what I talk about. The point is that if I talk for a while, and your eyes are closed, you become unaware of where your hands are. And also your left arm, you find, just start to feel a bit tired because the tendons in the arm, the position you've got it in, start to tire. So it's naturally going to, after a period of time, go lower. Now it really doesn't matter one blind bit whether your right hand goes into the air. If someone's severely suggestible, they might do. But it doesn't matter, as long as the left hand drops down a bit, which it will over a period of time, then if you were to then say, now everyone open your eyes and get them to look at it, they're going to go, well, there's a gap between my hands, which means that must have gone in the air and that must have gone down. And true, for some of the people, it's probably just that that's got tired and gone down. But if you were to get them to open their eyes and look at it, it'd be like, wow, there's a gap. And that gap to them is the proof that what you said would occur has occurred, so therefore it's reality. That's how you use it as a suggestibility test. Which is great, because when you look at an audience, obviously the people, the bigger the gap is, generally speaking, the better the experience will be for them. That I mean, really suggestible if the right hand's been going up. Great, then you want to focus on that. Or it could just mean that they've got really weak muscles in the left arm. But either way, they're going to see something that's like, wow.
So the bigger the gap, the more suggestible. Is that what you're saying?
If the gap is being caused by them, and that's where you're looking at them, being caused by them lifting their right arm in the air, then yeah, they're clearly suggestible. If it's being caused by the left arm getting knackered going down, then maybe it's just because the left arm is getting knackered. But still, a big gap like that caused by the left hand dropping is better than a small gap caused visually it looks better, but also it means that when you then say to them, open your eyes and take a look, wow, look how your mind's made that happen. It's more visual to them, wow, we said something and it occurred. Which is the way to use it as a suggestibility test. However, I'm sorry, I lied to you, I had to be able to work in this context. And it works better in any context when you then just go into it and turn it into an induction. So actually then, because their eyes are closed, they don't know how much of a gap there is. There's no awareness. They're expecting one because you made this important. It seems, it's like a ritual. It's being given a level of importance. So clearly you must be doing this for a reason. And logically that reason must be got something to do with the fact you're a hypnotist, so people's minds attach themselves to that, more down the garden path. But if we can now make that moment of confusion, disorientation, what the fuck's going on? I wasn't expecting this. And we can physically end up with them in a different physical position. They're going to assume, when they try and analyse it, and this is all a split-second thought process I'm trying to explain it, they're just going to assume that means they're hypnotised. So, this is called, by the way, me and Rob dubbed this, when he showed it to me, he did this on me, so I've come up with an idea. He didn't tell me the full story at the time, he said, could I just try something out? And he went through it, and I'm thinking, yeah, the light heavy hands test, oh, you like, go on, whatever. I taught you that years ago. And then suddenly he said, I'll tap you on the hands, it won't bother you, worry or concern you. Next thing you know, I'm like fucking, I fell off the chair. In shock. I opened my eyes, don't get me wrong, I went, what the fuck did you just do then? Because with your eyes closed, you don't have full conscious awareness of what's going on. I'm expecting to get tapped on the hands again, like that one's going lower, that's going higher, and then suddenly I've got all this going on. I was like, whoa, that's the closest I could ever say I felt to something strange, so therefore something that I could call hypnosis. Hence I turned around and offered him a large 4-figure sum, and the next day drew the money out the bank and bought copyright on it, and we made a DVD and blah 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 blah. Which incidentally you've got in the pack that I've given you. You've all got that DVD. Which is,
Sorry, which way did you get? How did you get the?
that's what I'm now going to show you. You know exactly how to do this, so can I pick up your just hand over? Like I say, so you can keep your eyes open, don't worry, because at the end of the day, it's just a physical movement push up. The left hand's part, what goes to the right hand's that way. It really doesn't matter. They might have had a big gap, they might have had a little gap, they might have had no gap. That's the beauty of this, because it doesn't matter. Now, during all that talk about they're getting heavier, they're getting lighter, I come along and tap you on the hand and go, heavier, heavier. Well, actually, I'm just physically pushing your hand down a bit, lighter, lighter, pushing it up a bit. Which is great for the suggestibility test of afterwards seeing the gap, if you were using it that way as a convincer. But why bother? Let's take it straight into an induction. You've got their eyes closed, they don't know. You come along, you make sure there is some gap, but it really doesn't matter, it's just a difference in what you now do. It's called the seesaw induction as a memory aid to remember that the seesaw goes from that position to that position, from one way to the other. So if this arm's currently in the air, it's going to end up down, and if that one's down, it's going to end up up. And we warn them, whenever you're going to touch somebody, you always say, I'm going to touch you, and you tell them where, so it doesn't come as a shock. And you tell them it won't bother them, worry or concern. If you just randomly touch someone on the hand, back, what the fuck are you doing? And open their eyes. Always pre-warn. So say in a few moments, so you've done all this, time killing from 10 to 1, so there is some gap to a greater or lesser degree, and you go, I'm talking to everyone. In a few moments' time, I'll only be talking to you directly if I tap you on the hands. Otherwise, my voice just serves as a sign and a signal for the letters outline balloons to get heavier and the red helium balloons to get lighter. But the very moment, the very second, the very instant that I tap you on the hands, it will not bother you, worry you, or concern you. Just be a sign and a signal to help you relax more completely. That's all you've said. You've not said anything about going into trance, hypnosis. There's no reason to resist because they don't know what's going to happen. They think you're just going to tap them on the hands. That's where the shock and confusion and disorientation all comes in. What you actually do is when you go, and very lightly, I mean literally fingertips, you're going to push that hand down at the same time as you're pushing that up. So with their eyes closed, they're trying to consciously think, well, hang on, why is one arm going up, the other's going down? And then you're going to bring this hand across the chest, downwards, and pull it slightly forward. Tap them on the back and say so. Back in position, left, right. Okay? So, to do that one more time, slow motion. Tap you on the hands, you won't bother you, worry or concern you. You take whatever you've got and you just go. Reverse it. And then straight in towards the back and then slightly out. So you end up in that position, hand on the back, gently tap like that. Oh yeah, that's really, but not big pressure. I'll show you again in a minute, but it's going to be literally tap your hands, you won't bother you, worry or concern you. It's just a sign and a signal to help you relax more completely and just sleep, 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 sleep. Eyes remain entirely closed at all times unless I say otherwise. The psychology was spoken about before. Thank you, Graham. Everyone just put your hands out, you can keep your eyes open, but put them in. It doesn't matter how close together they are or how far apart, because when the person's eyes are closed, they've no clue about that. You can still do an alternation. And I'll give you an idea with your looking of how gentle the movement is, but also the speed. So when I touch you, won't bother you, worry, concern you, blah, 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 and slip, and slip, and sleep, and sleep, and sleep, and sleep, and sleep. It is literally just, what the hell's going on with this journey?
Is that part of it? Sorry to keep interrupting when you're speaking.
No, you're fine.
You know, I've noticed twice you've been me, and it's quite, you know, I felt it. It's not like it's been, is that part of the shock tactic you talk about? Because for me, that was quite an aggressive push then.
And yet, it isn't.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, so, but it's because you're not expecting it.
Yeah, so,
it's that aggressive, but perhaps with that, right? But actually, I'm only using my fingertips.
Right.
What? That?
Yeah.
That? Like, it is.
Just the control.
You naturally, and if need be, I'll just use think and pull forward.
Right.
People naturally, because their eyes are closed, the disorientate. It's more, close your eyes and put your hand. Put your hands in that position, close your eyes. It's even more effective, even when you know how it's going with your eyes closed, because you're not expecting it. When I tap you on the hands, it won't bother you where it's concerned you, just helps you relax and sleep. 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 That, it's more effective with your eyes closed, because there's another level of disorientation, confusion. And remember, the people you're doing this on don't have a clue that this is going to happen, so it's even more effective because they don't know. That really is the crux of it. That's why this works, when they don't know. I do, because obviously in the pre-talk you've already anchored the idea of sleep and hypnosis to the finger click. Now, if you can't do the finger click, go on eBay and they sell these little things about the size of a 10p coin called clickers that you can literally just press and it makes the same noise as that. Which doesn't matter when the eyes are closed, because as far as they're concerned, that noise is you clicking your fingers.
They use it for training dogs.
Yeah, that is exactly what they're for, dog clickers, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's really, it's not major force required, it's the fact it's unexpected. That's why it's unexpected. And people get caught up, because when you know the secret to the trick, like with magic, you think, you're never going to get away with that, that's not going to fool anyone. And people are often let down when they find out how simple a magic trick is. And yet, it fooled them a few minutes ago. I've seen it at magic conventions. I've shown someone a trick. They're amazed by it. I showed them how it's done, and they go, you'll never get away with that. I realised it's like, I just fucking did it.
I find that technique more successful than the drop back. Or are they all as much as each other?
They're all, technically, as long as you believe in them, as effective as each other.
Right.
However, honest truth, because, and it's probably because I believe in it more, because it's the first time I felt a shock, because it was something that I'd not encountered before. I knew the light and heavy hands test, I'm fixated on this, thinking what fancy new words does he come up with? And then suddenly, I said, I'll tap your hands, and I'm thinking, oh, I know what he's doing, it's the old push up and down in the air, and just to make the gap bigger. And then suddenly, I'm feeling this. I was like, what? And I was like, wait, this is wrong. I shouldn't be feeling this way. I shouldn't fall for this. So because it's the only technique that, to me personally, has made me have that funny feeling, shall we say, I attach more confidence to it.
Right.
So therefore I'm transmitting more confidence. You'll all find techniques that you feel more comfortable with yourself, that you'll find work better for you than other ones, because you've just got more confidence with them, and that's what it's going to be transmitted, if that makes sense, yeah? So yeah, that's what light and heavy hands, if you get them to open their eyes, suggestibility test, confidence, or go into that and it becomes an induction, the seesaw induction. Yeah, cool. So that's that one. Suggestibility test, one more of them, man.